Right, so now we're going to open up Sketchup in order to draw our keyring. So here's Steve. We'll keep him there for a moment just so we can get the approximate size right and check that it looks keyring sized, as in tiny. First thing we're going to use is the 3D text tool, which is over here. So if we come across and click on the 3D text tool, it will pop up a window. And so we'll need to type the letters that we want, and we need to know what the font name was that we chose before. So if I come back to my document over here, I'm just going to go with this one. So that is Veneta BT. So oops, come back across to SketchUp. Oh, I lost SketchUp. Okay, Veneta. Veneta, SA, where is it? There it is, Veneta BT. And the height, now we're going to just, okay, so I said we're going to make the keyring a small size like this, but SketchUp was really designed as a program to draw buildings. And so it doesn't really cope with small stuff as well as it copes with big stuff. So what we're going to do is make this keyring 10 times bigger than what it normally is. So I said at the start of the video that the keyring height from here was around about 25 mils high. So what I'm going to do is make this 250 mils high. Okay, so the height here, if we type that as 250 mils high, alignment doesn't really matter. Most fonts won't have bold and things like that. Okay, you do not need to extrude it. So basically filled means it's going to fill in the black as black surface. That's fine. And extruded is if, for example, you wanted to make it thick and 3D straight away, but we don't. So we're going to leave it flat at this point. So that there is 10 times bigger than it should be. And if you look at Steve, that's probably about right because that's quite large. So I'm just going to use a space bar, delete Steve, he's done. And so what it's done is place these font. It's not 3D because I chose not to extrude it. It's flat. So I've got a number of graphic elements here, rectangles, triangles, shapes, things like that, which are all grouped together. So I can right click and go explode. And so what I've got now is a bundle of surfaces, which if I click once, I can select the surface. If I double click, I'll select the surface and all the bounding edges. So if I hold the shift key, shift double click, keep my hot finger on the shift key, and as I double click my way around, I can select all of those letters, for example, like that. If I wanted to go M for move, I can move them further apart or closer to each other or even overlap them. Now with this particular font, it's probably not particularly suited to me actually overlapping or you know, doing things like that. But for example, I'll give you another one which for some of you might have letters which will be quite suited to overlapping. So I do want to show you this. So let's say this one here, for example. That is font Pump something, Pump Demi. Okay, so I'm going to come back over here. I'll do a different one and show you. Do it again. The same height was how big? I think I need to select it first, and then I'm looking for Pump. I wonder if that's it. Yep, Pump Demi Bold Let. So that's probably the one. Now I'm not extruding it again, and filling is fine. I'll just put this up here. So what I was showing, if you spacebar, right click and explode it, I might want to, for example, double click this and go M for move and bring it just so that it ends up overlapping a little bit. Now what happens when you do that is it leaves the surface in between and it keeps these little lines where they overlap. So if you deleted those, for example, then let's say I brought this down just so that it was like this, and then just select each line by line, those little bits in the inside, and you can end up with then one shape, which may be something that works for you. Okay, so in this case, what I might want to do is just bring that corner up to there. And there's a common line in between. That one as well I might get rid of. So you can see it taking shape. Now this may not be the best solution, but you might be able to see a way to use your font like that by basically just working your way around. Now, I encourage you strongly not to pull this to a 3D shape yet. The longer you can do your design work and keep it flat like this, probably the better off you're going to be. See, once you get it to this stage, it would be possible to pull it up and make it, you know, a certain thickness. Or let's say, for example, I wanted to make the HEL separate from the BIG. Maybe that would have been a smarter way for me to go, is to join these ones. Because then I could have done two different heights. All right, so each of your designs is going to be different from everyone else's. But see, the idea here, I was thinking then I'd be able to double click that, move it across, and push them at different heights. So this one could be one height, for example, and this one could be, you know, a different height. So they're still touching, but they've got different sorts of letters. So you can do things like that to basically make it so the letters work out well for you. Okay, so and anyway, what I was going to say though is the longer you can keep it flat, in some ways the better, because if you want to make any design changes, once you've got it as a 3D shape, suddenly then it's a lot harder to actually move things around and separate them. And so probably the other thing I should probably recommend is, even here, before joining them, I probably should have gone triple click, make a group. Triple click, make a group, so they don't get snapped together. Because now what I can do is double click to get inside the group, pull this up a certain distance, get out of there, spacebar, get into this group, pull it up to at least there and maybe a little bit further. Okay, and what we're really looking for is that when we get out of the group, spacebar, click on nothing, click on this, and your entity info should say a solid group. Okay, everything should say a solid group. Now, a solid group basically means it doesn't have any extra little lines like that inside it. See, now it just says it's a group, because the 3D printer says, hey, there's a line there, should be maybe printing something, but it's supposed to be a 3D solid object. And so you want to make sure that you don't do too much mucking around with it, because it should be that when you select it, it has to be a solid group. If it's not, you're not going to be able to print it. I'll give another example. If we come in here, sometimes what will happen is that underneath this surface, if I delete that, there's stuff on the inside there, and there might be a line hidden in the middle there that you didn't delete at the first place. And so when you have this as a sealed solid, you don't know that that line's inside there. And so you go in here and say it's a group, what's going on? And basically it could be just something as simple as having, you know, an extra line inside there that doesn't belong. So basically every surface should only have like one line in between it. There shouldn't be extra lines around anywhere else in the shape here. So you've just got to be very careful. And that's why it's the best, the longer you can keep it as a flat object, the better. So what I often almost recommend doing is, when you think you've got the shape right, flat, like this, is before you start pulling it, is take a copy and just put a copy over to the side. Because then you can edit this, you know, do your stuff here, and you've still got the original in case something goes wrong. Okay, so I'm making that the same height, and now just push it up a bit further. So first thing to check is spacebar, click off it, click on it, and double check that the entity info says it's a solid group. If not, you've got troubles and you need to fix it up. Okay, so at this point, that's basically how you play with the letters. So the only other thing I really need to show you is how you would make a base if, for example, you wanted to make a base, like let's say in the case of this one here. What you could do is take a copy of this and put it over here, and then start to modify one of these. Like if I just drew extra lines, for example, down through here, I could actually then make a base which is similar to the original and just delete the inside lines. So I'm not going to do the whole thing, but essentially any of this, you've got to just think about what's going on here. Could I just go maybe down to there and start to work my way around until I've got basically all these, you know, extra little bits down here. Just make a decision about where you're going to draw the lines to. and then delete all the inside lines. Now you can drag from left to right and it will delete just what's enclosed. That probably didn't make any sense, but don't worry about it. Okay, so once you've done this, let's say you'd finished the whole thing. In fact, I'll pause the video and finish it. Okay, there you go. That was nice and quick. So yeah, basically I've deleted all those lines, joined up the outside and deleted all the inside lines. And so now I look up here, it's a component. I'm just going to, it's not a solid yet, so you haven't push-pulled it to 3D. But if I was to get inside there, spacebar, double-click, push-pull it up by, well, how thick should a keyring be? Let's say that. Spacebar, click off it and click on it again, and it's a solid component, so I know I've done everything right. If it just says it's a component and not solid, then you've got to basically get inside it, delete one of the surfaces and see what's going on, or even get it back to being a flat, and it's possible that you've just left a little line or something like that inside there, because it'll still pull it up, but the problem is once you do that, it's not a solid component, and so it's got that extra line inside it. So you've really just got to make sure you've only got the outline like you need there. So if I get into here, pull it, make it a certain height, then what I can do is, it's a component. So I've lost all my insides there. It should have been a group. Okay, I'll just go and add the text again. It was KH, and it was, what was the name of that font? Let's have a look. Veneta. Okay, back to SketchUp. Veneta. There it is. 250, that's all good. So I'll place that again. So it's because it came up as a component. I'll probably need to just explode that, and then you can make it a group straight away to keep it together. So anyway, double click to get inside the group, and what I might want to do here is just pull this up a certain distance. Maybe, and to make the second one, I'll hover over the first one. And now what I might want to do is make the shadow a little bit different. So I might just want to bring it up to, say, half the height, hovering over the midpoint of there. And then this one, I can hover over that surface and it will make it the same as the surface I hover over. So if I click this and move and hover over that, it would be that height. If I hover over this, it would be the full height. So that's how you can just click and bring them up to the height that you want, so that they're even across the whole diagram. Okay, so almost finished this, and your design will of course be different. This is just basically an example, so you can see what is possible, and that's the last one there. So now what I would do is move the base, which is a solid component, and this is a solid group. I just need to put one on top of the other, so I'll click M for move, click on a known point, like for example that point there is this point here. Okay, so it fits nicely on top there, and I've got some nice levels inside there, and the only thing I lack now is a keyring hole. So I don't think I've got time in this video to show you how to do a keyring hole, but well, I might do. I mean, basically I've got to modify the base, get inside here and draw myself some sort of an arc like this. That's just a 2-point arc. You might want to do it a little bit more thoroughly than this, and then I'll delete the inside here and pull this up to one of those spaces. Now the question is it still a solid? It's not a solid group, and it's probably because inside here I've got an extra surface in there and extra lines that I don't need. So you're going to need to do a little bit of playing to make sure that when you do this, it basically, you might have to actually keep it as a 2D shape to start with. Like before you pull the height of it, is basically add your circle and your shapes and things on there, and just as the very last thing is pull the height, because once you start trying to add little bits on, you can have all sorts of troubles. Even now I think if I join it, there'll probably be this extra line there and there. So if I delete that, okay, so now I've fixed it by getting rid of those extras, but it's a bit of a hassle. So basically the bottom line is you're better off keeping it flat like this and doing all your designing while it's flat, and then once you're happy with it, take a copy and pull the height and start to join the different components together. But as I said, it's critical that each component is a solid group. So all the best with that. Basically get into your tools and see how you go. Have fun.